What feedback have we gotten so far on some of these courses?
People who've said, this platform is going to change the whole pest control industry. We've had people say things like, man, I just wish there was more. Hey, we'd like to hear from these experts in these fields, or just hear more about these topics. Something that everybody struggles with, but honestly overwhelming. I'm so grateful for the people that listen to this podcast and that are on our Facebook group page, because again, we're so focused on you guys and what you guys need and want for your businesses, and it helps us be able to make this, perfect it, get you the material and the resources that you need.
Welcome to the Bug Bux podcast, a podcast designed to help you become a bug money millionaire. Today's episode is brought to you by Bug Bux Plus, the #1 course designed to help you start and grow your pest control company. I'm your host, Eric Bassett, and Alan is going to be traveling today, but we do have a guest that I'm going to be really excited about. But before we introduce them, I just want to remind everybody listening, the best way to receive new episodes is by subscribing to our show on your preferred platforms, such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you love the show, please leave us a rating and a review. And one last reminder, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, go to Bug Bux. That is BUGBUX. As always, we love to hear from our listeners. So today I would like to welcome Hunter Annen, who is the co-founder and president of our very own Bug Bux Plus platform, which is going to be sponsoring this episode. So Hunter, we've talked to you before. In fact, you were on the show back episode 90, which was July 6th, and that was actually right before Bug Bux Plus actually launched. Is that right? That's
right. Yeah. I mean, we didn't know what was going to happen or exactly, or even, I mean, we've just had so many changes, so much enthusiasm. Yeah, and back then it was just like, what's going to happen? Let's just throw this out there and see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're probably talking to a whole audience of people who know exactly how that feels, right? All these PCOs who dive into business and they're not sure what's going to happen or where things are going to go or where they're going to be in 3, 6, 12 months, and it's, as we're recording this episode, we'll probably drop like halfway through September, maybe. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, we're talking 2 months in, right? So
right.
It feels like it was yesterday, and at the same time, it feels like it was a year ago. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just probably like you said, like everyone listening to this probably gets that same feeling of like, wow, as the busy season's kind of wrapping up, like, wow, did we just go through another whole season? Like, that's something that I feel right now, where it's been, a few months, but oh man, so much has happened since then. It blows my mind.
Oh yeah, dude, me too. And then of course, for everybody listening, you guys have probably figured out already that I am involved in the Bug Bux Plus platform. I'm also a co-founder, and I recorded some of the content in there. So it is, for me, it's been kind of a crazy journey. But from a PCO standpoint, man, I just love that we're providing value. All the questions that I get in my DMs, all the questions we get in our Facebook group, we're taking all of that desire for information and we're plugging it into the Bug Bux Plus platform, which is something that I'm really excited about as both somebody who's helping Hunter launch this thing and somebody who's obviously already running a pest control company. So speaking of the course, Hunter, back when we launched, what courses did we launch with at the time?
So when we first launched, I believe we launched with 5 courses. So we had your course talking about customer service, which is an awesome course on just how to get a customer service up and running from the get-go, where you might be the solo operator. How do I handle things, to how do I start growing a team, and what kind of reps do I need? We also had Alan teaching some leadership skills on kind of like some different characteristics that you need to have to be a good leader. Just kind of like a nice bear. It's kind of on the surface level, and he's going to be diving into more coming up, which we'll talk about more later. We had Matt Rogers from Lizard, some digital marketing, David teaching about culture in your business, and we also had Cody Barber from Baton talking about referrals and marketing. So 5 courses is what we launched with, but we're just continuing to grow and grow and grow.
I remember recording my first course, in there, and we had all the scripting, we had the camera set up, and we had, the teleprompter, and we have lighting, and, if you guys are looking at the video version of this podcast, you can see Hunter's studios. Looks awesome. It's all well lit. It's got the accent lighting and all the cool stuff. But I just remember feeling, this platform is so intentional, right? Which is really what we designed it to be. It's not designed to be kind of an afterthought where you come here, you learn a few things, and we just kind of spitball ideas. It's, hey, you want to learn something specific, we're going to bring you in, you can sit down, grab a pen and a piece of paper, and we're going to give you some actionable information on how you can improve your pest control company.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. It's 100% where we want every minute that you spend watching this to be worth it. Other platforms might have it where it's like a YouTube video where you're like, okay, I'm going to watch this on 3x speed. Get to the point, man. Like, I'm so tired of this. You're like, oh, now we're going to take you to our sponsor. It's like you have to dig so deep through YouTube videos nowadays to get any really good stuff. And we want it where it's like, hey, you have 5 minutes, you have 15 minutes. Let's say you are having a business meeting, you don't know what topics to cover. Pull up one of our videos and discuss it with your partners. Or you have 2 minutes on the toilet, like, let's go learn something, take some notes on some toilet paper, like something.
Oh, man.
That's kind of the plan.
I would love to do a poll one day and ask our listeners, hey, how much time do you spend on our platform while you're also on the toilet? And we can have a cool little metric where it's like toilet learning time.
Yeah,
it's like this is the ROI I have on my toilet time. How about that?
Yeah, toilet time. So, that's actually got a good ring to it.
Is it a little catchy? Should we launch that?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Should we launch toilet time? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of feedback, I mean, we've obviously gotten some feedback from some of our listeners already, which has helped us a lot. It's helped us tremendously. I think both the podcast and the training platform are really centered around understanding what our listeners want and what PCOs want and what they see value in. And so, for the guys that are out there listening, ones that have given us feedback on either the Facebook group, or you gave feedback on the little Google link that we put out there for the form fill and stuff, thank you a lot. So, Hunter, what feedback have we gotten so far on some of these courses?
We've gotten some amazing feedback. We've had people who've said, this platform is going to change the whole pest control industry. We've had people say things like, man, I just wish there was more, which I 100% get. Like, that's, we're brand new and it's probably something that everybody struggles with. But we have had feedback in, hey, we'd like to hear from these experts in these fields or just hear more about these topics. It has been honestly overwhelming, and I'm so grateful for the people that listen to this podcast and that are on our Facebook group page, because, again, we're so focused on you guys and what you guys need and want for your businesses, and it helps us be able to make this, perfect it, get you the material and the resources that you need.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just like Hunter was saying, I mean, the feedback has been so helpful. We want to make sure that we're delivering on what you guys feel like is valuable for your business. And yeah, I really appreciate the feedback when somebody said, hey, I wish there was more content. It was kind of tricky, trying to figure out when we were going to launch this thing because, once we got to the point where it's like 5 or 6 courses, it's like, man, we just want to get this stuff out there, right? We want people to be able to see it, to be able to start watching it and listening to it. And we're doing about like 1 to 2 new courses a month, something like that. At least 1, I think, is what our goal is. And maybe 2 when we have the opportunity, which would be, awesome.
Yeah.
But, eventually this course is going to be just chock full of content. I mean, we're 2 months in, and how many courses do we have right now?
Right now we have... Let's see, let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 courses. Plus, anyway, there's so many that are in line to come out. It kind of blows my mind where it's like, we have right now, I think 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 courses on our platform. And then just in the works, between people scripting, between people having their flights already booked to come out and film with us, we're probably looking at a good... at least double that, at least 16, almost up to 20 courses. And honestly, the bottleneck for all this is the video editing. Like, it is crazy. I would love to release 2, 3, 4 courses, a month. That would be amazing. And it's just something where I cannot believe the growth, and I can't believe how eager everybody is for these courses. And I since I'm the one that does like all the video editing at the moment myself, it's like, man, I just can't keep up with editing fast enough. But I love this.
Yeah, it's awesome that we've got, just the network of industry experts that we have that are willing to provide the content. I think is really, really awesome. And we've talked about this before, where pest control hasn't always been so collaborative. It's kind of been a guarded secret. And, I don't know if it was like 2019, 2020, maybe even earlier than that, when pest control owners started kind of thinking, hey, I want to start asking questions. I want to start reaching out and networking, even with other pest control operators like in the same state, right? In the same market, which is crazy to think about. And so it's nice that we've got this network that includes industry experts, guys who both own pest control companies or work with pest control companies and vendors, and all the experience that's going to kind of travel and translate into that platform, I think is going to be huge. And so we started with, what was it, 5 courses that we launched with? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Do you know which were the other courses that we ended up launching since then that are currently on the platform?
Yes, we've launched one with Sam Taggart, which was huge. Sam Taggart,
door-to-door.
big door-to-door. Yep, big guy in that. He did a whole bunch. There are some shorter videos, but it's because they're talking about approaches, strategies. Hey, for this door approach, do this, all these different kinds of strategies. So that was huge. Sam Taggart, and in fact, he may even do more courses for us because that course has done so well.
Nice.
That was huge. We also have a course with Craig Shetterly from Contado, and he does contact marketing, which for those of you that don't know, it's basically like, how do you give people gifts, or I guess using gifts to get appointments and get some big contracts going. So that has been really interesting as well.
Yeah, and I'll maybe we'll link it in the show notes, because Craig Shetherly's been on the show a couple times at least, and he's talked about Contado and what contact marketing is and some of the benefits and what kind of company would be likely to use Contado. So I'll make sure that we put those episodes in the show notes.
Yeah, he's got some great stuff, because that's like what he specializes in. Like, let's say you're trying to get in contact with the McDonald's and you want to do their pest control. He talks about how you do the research to find out who's the owner, because obviously you're not going to reach out to McDonald's specifically.
Sure.
But, you could try. Why not? Dream big.
Yep.
But he talks about like, hey, this is the research you do to find out who the owner is. And then from there, this is how you package the gift and research. And anyway, a lot of these experts bring so much, and it's amazing as I'm listening to them, the impact that they can have on the pest control world, where I'm like, man, I could sit on this course and be like, hey, let's release it next month, but I just want to like release it now because it's such good content for our listeners and our pest control people.
Yep. So we've got Craig Shetterly's course, and then do we have any other courses that we launched already between when we first launched and now?
So that would be Sam Taggart's course.
Yep. Craig Shetterly's.
Craig's launched. Yep. And then we've got mine's going to drop pretty soon on how to create content. So that'll be going over camera details, gear details, how to edit. The problem with this course is I was starting to script it, get all ready, and then I realized that I was kind of aiming it towards the wrong audience. And so now I'm kind of like rewriting, but it's going to be so good with like, hey, these are the top recommendations to use for cameras. Hey, microphones,
Love it.
A lot of people are like, if I can buy one piece of equipment, what do I buy? And just a little teaser, it's not a camera. That's kind of the teasers. I would not buy a camera first. I think we got you coming in to do another course.
Yep.
We've got some other people from Natura planning on coming in. We got a bookkeeper coming in. And another little teaser is we're going to soon have vendors coming in, which is another thing that's going to add a whole nother dimension to this network that we're building out for everybody.
Yeah. So we've got, obviously we have tons of new courses coming up. We've got some technical courses coming in. We've got inside sales courses coming up that I'm going to be doing, and some other ones that I know we've got in the pipeline. And then just like you mentioned, vendors. right? So we've got this whole new dynamic that I don't even think we really talked about very much so far. And I think if you've been, if you've been a subscriber to Bug Bux Plus and you've been on the website, maybe you've noticed there are a couple of hints towards getting like vendor discounts and getting like, preferred provider lists and stuff. So, Hunter, what can you tell us about what the experience is going to be like when it comes to these vendors, for both the vendors that are going to be, providing that content and those discounts maybe, and what's the experience going to be like for the subscriber?
Absolutely. So for the subscriber, just like you hinted at, we've had some discussions with some pretty big players in the field, and I wish I could say their names and exactly what they're going to do. But yeah, we're looking at discounts, which is huge. We're looking at getting really, like intimate or special access to these players. So one thing that I can tell you is we're going to allow somebody in their field or an expert to start joining the Bug Bux Plus Facebook group. And so what would be really nice is, let's say you have some chemical company or a car company or whatever, and you're having an issue, you'll be able to message them directly in the Bug Bux Plus group and get an immediate response from an expert in that field or from that business, and be like, hey, this is what works for us. So what's really cool is we're bringing the connections of, if you're a member, you get really good like customer service from the company. You get to ask questions directly to them, and it'll be all within our Facebook group. Again, the discount codes will be awesome. And what's really nice too is I think I see this pretty often in our normal Facebook group, people saying, hey, what is the best blank? What is the best marketing company? What is the best, what vehicles do you use? I'm trying to think of other examples I've seen recently. But the nice thing is that with Bug Bux Plus, we're going to go through and we're going to vet those out. We're going to get you the best deals possible. And then that way you don't have to spend all your time researching, and trying to go from pitch meeting to pitch meeting. Okay, now I'm listening to this company. Now I'm listening to this one. It's like, no, we've already gone through and looked at all of them, looked at the best. And this is who is, for lack of a better word, Bug Bux approved, Bug Bux Plus approved. And you'll be able to get access right to them.
Okay, so you're saying that, from a subscriber standpoint, number one, if they have any questions or if they're looking for a vendor, or if they're like, man, who do you guys recommend for company X, Y, and Z, right? And they're going to have access to exactly who we would recommend, who has the best product, who has the best service, who's the most recommended vendor in that industry, right?
Correct.
And they'll have access to all that, which is awesome. I mean, I can't tell you how much time, me as a PCO, I've wasted trying to vet and communicate with potential companies. I mean, you think phone systems, software systems, marketing companies, right? Definitely vehicles and insurance companies. I mean, just all the different ways that I wish, and I have used that network a lot. I reached out to Alan, reached out to other pest control operators. I mean, if you go through our Facebook group and you just look into some of the questions about vendors, I mean, I feel like that's a few times a week thing where people are asking, hey, who do you guys recommend for this? Right.
And it's so easy to get lost in all those things. I'm sure you could spend, weeks at a time just on calls with vendors and with things like that, saying, all right, now pitch me your whatever, pitch me this. And you could just be like, I am so overwhelmed. Or just be like, what? I just don't even care. I'm just going to pull the trigger on somebody random.
Yeah. Well, and, it's time. Time is money, right? And when you're a pest control owner, you want to make sure that you are getting really good ROI on your time. And if you just had an approved list, right, where you didn't have to waste any time vetting anybody, I mean, man, that's going to be huge, and discounts, kind of mentioned those a little bit. I think that's going to be awesome. I mean, how nice would it be if you can reach out to some of these companies, and not only do you reach out, save yourself some time because it's on the list, but when you talk to somebody, you say, hey, yeah, I'm a Bug Bux Plus subscriber, and I heard that you guys have special deals for me, and then they roll out the red carpet for you. And they're like, actually, yes, we definitely do. So glad that you're here. Let me tell you how much you're going to save, and this is the type of treatment you get for being a Bug Bux Plus subscriber, right? Which is going to be killer. So you save time, you save money, right? you can immediately get into action, whatever you're trying to do, whether it's marketing or buying vehicles or whatever it is, which is awesome. So that's going to be killer. Are these vendors planning on creating any courses for the platform?
Yeah, so that's definitely part of their packages, depending on kind of, we have like a little tier system of the vendors, kind of where we prioritize them and where they want to be. But they'll be doing all sorts of courses for us on chemicals, on best ways to budget, the best ways to keep track of your expenses, how to maybe, deck out your cars or your rigs or whatever. They'll be making all sorts of content in the future coming up. And those are just kind of details that'll come out as we continue to work with vendors. We have a lot kind of in the background right now that are thinking about it, who are pretty set on joining us. They're just trying to decide how to join us or which tier they would like. But yeah, they'll be making content for us and getting some more great stuff for us.
That's awesome. And I guess that kind of leads us into my next question. From the vendor experience, we kind of talked about this already. Obviously, they're going to be making some content for you. But, what are the benefits for the vendors specifically when it comes to being a partner with Bug Bux Plus?
So one thing that's awesome, we kind of already touched on this, is again, I don't know if this is the right word, but like kind of that intimate relationship with pest control owners. A lot of times it's kind of like a business. You could be a marketing agency or, sell cars, whatever. And you don't have that connect with the business owner. It's like, okay, I sell you this for that. And that's kind of like where our relationship ends. And what is really neat with this is you're going to kind of become part of the family, I feel like. You're going to become part of the Bug Bux Plus family where we're sharing ideas, where we're collaborating, where maybe even as a vendor, you might be able to collaborate with another company, XYZ, and find other connections where like, hey, I haven't thought about growing into this area. Maybe if I collaborate with this other company who does this, maybe we could partner up. So there's actually, you'll be connecting not only with our members and be able to get to know their problems, their issues, their struggles really well, but also you'll be able to connect with other vendors and maybe have some collaboration that way. In fact, I'll just be honest, that idea just came to my brain right now. And I thought, what a great idea to share. But
yeah. From a vendor standpoint, that'd be awesome. Having a warm network, right? Like everybody dreams in the sales world, you dream of having warm leads, right? And not just like warm leads, like somebody calls in having what you offer or wanting what you're offering, but somebody calls in and says, hey, yeah, you're a referral of so-and-so, right? Like so-and-so referred me to you. As a vendor, you're going to get all these PCOs that reach out to you and they just say, hey, yeah, you were the top referral for Bug Bux Plus. It's a group that I'm a part of and I'm ready to go, right? That's powerful. Plus, just like you said, you can start collaborating with other vendors, because these vendors that we're going to have obviously have a lot of value in the pest control space, but they might not only serve just the pest control space, right? So yeah, collaborating with multiple vendors I think is going to be huge. That is a solid idea, Hunter. Nice one.
Yeah, I got to run with that. But
write it down. Don't forget.
Yeah. It's just like we're basically trying to build like a gigantic networking system. You start out brand new, fresh, you got a brand new company, you're the only guy spraying. Okay, who do I buy for chemicals for? Okay, Bug Bux Plus recommends this company. Boom, I get a deal with them. And it's affordable to me, and I'm starting out and I'm bootstrapping this whole thing. I'm going to need every single, penny I can get saved so I can spend it elsewhere or whatever you need. You need all of a sudden to start advertising here and here. Oh, great. We've got deals with this marketing team, these advertisers. They can help you get started. Really what we're trying to build is just a whole network, a web of wherever you are, you jump in and we're going to connect you to everybody we got in our platform. You'll build relationships. You'll be able to go to, events like Pest World or other places. You'll be able to do meetups and get to know people. And it's just going to be a really neat thing where you join our network and you're part of the family.
Man, it's cool. It reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever read The Go-Giver, but it's an awesome book. And we read it in our leadership training platform, like a leadership training program that I have at Natura. is one of the books that we had on our list. And no, don't want to put any spoilers out there, but there's a character in the book that's known as the connector. And their whole point is being the guy who brings people together for mutually beneficial experiences, right? And so it's kind of cool. I'm kind of realizing that that's one of the main purposes of this platform. It's not just training and educating PCOs. It's also being the connector, right? I mean, pest control owners want to have the best products, the best services, and they want to get those from the best providers. And these providers, all they want to do is be able to give value to pest control owners, right? And the only bottleneck between the two is being able to find each other and being able to have somebody who can tell them, hey, this is a solid network of PCOs that want your product, and this is a solid company, vendor, who is tried and true, proven, and they want to provide you the best products and services, right? So it's kind of cool that we are trying to become the connectors within our own industry, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and from like my question to you is, as you're a pest control owner, you're busy all the time, and I'm sure you have a whole team, built out for this. But what would it mean to you and your company to not have to join all these, pitch meetings? What would that mean to you? Like, what could you do with that time?
I mean, time, ultimately, as a business owner, time is one of the most precious commodities you have. At some point in your building a business, money is very important, right? You need money. You got to be able to pay payroll. You got to pay the bills. But eventually you get to the point where time becomes a really big bottleneck. You sit down in meetings and you talk about what is going right, what needs work, and what you're going to do to fix it. And a lot of times the fix it part includes time and effort. And, you'll say, hey, that's perfect. We need to do this new thing. We need this new software. We need this new platform. We need to reach out to this vendor. We need to fix this problem. And in order for me to do that, I need you to call X, Y, and Z vendors and find a vendor. I need you to call these different companies, right? I need you to do the research for all these different vendors. And I don't have enough fingers or thumbs to count the number of times that I've had a manager or a business partner look at me and go, where in the world am I going to have time to do that? Right. And it falls into the level of priorities with things, right? Sometimes it just doesn't get done because you don't have time for that. And like a lot of PCOs, they wait to execute on some of these things until the quote unquote off season, right? What we call the prep season, it's kind of that slower part of the year. You have to wait because you don't have the time to dive into that. So, insert this platform, insert these connections, and all of a sudden, instead of saying, hey, I need you to call these 3 different companies, it's, hey, go on bugbucksplus.com, look at their preferred list, and contact the top preferred company, right? They've already been vetted, just call them, okay? In fact, I could just, you could probably send so-and-so at BugBucks Plus an email and say, hey, can you set me up a meeting with so-and-so? That'd be easy, right? There's another idea for you, Hunter. You can write that.
There we go. I know, this is like turning to like a brainstorming session or something.
Right?
Like, here's some ideas.
But, it's just, so what it means to me, what it means to me is having enough resources where I can actually execute on some of the solutions that we talk about in meetings, right? That could be me having a 3-month head start on actionables in my company. And that could translate to hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, if not millions, depending on what the idea is. So, big or small, every company at some point needs more time and needs a more streamlined system of getting things done. And this, I believe, is what's going to help make that happen.
Absolutely. And I think we often say, like, are you working like in the business or on your business? That's another one of those time management things where, again, if you're spending all your time on calls with vendors, just trying to figure out the best one, you're not working really on your business, you're working in it. And you need that time to, work on processes or whatever that you need to get to.
100%. So we're running short on time, but before we zip out of here, for the people who haven't seen it already, what's the pricing like for Bug Bux Plus? How much does it cost for you to actually get access to all these tools and resources?
Great question. Right now we are at, it is $49.99 a month. Or let's see, I'll look up what the monthly is, but or yearly. There is a discount for the yearly now. I'm just spacing it. What it is, yikes. Do you know what that is, Eric?
It's like 15%.
Yeah,
right?
15% off. That's right.
Yeah, you save a decent amount when you pay annually if you're the type of person that likes to get the best ROI. So
right.
So yeah, for $50 a month, I mean, you're getting access to one new course every single month that's delivered by an industry expert, right? That's only there just to teach you the ins and outs of whatever the content is. And then you also have access to every other course that's already been made. And then eventually here you're going to have access to all these different vendors and exclusive benefits, right? For just $50 a month. You know, and I'm thinking, I mean, how many of these PCOs that are out there would pay significantly more in a consulting fee to sit down with that expert for the same amount of time just once, right? I mean, you can't pay $50 to sit down with an industry expert and pick their brain for an hour.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. And on our platform, not only do you get that once a month, but you get access to every single expert that's ever been there.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I mean, $50 a month. I mean, come on.
Right.
You know,
what's just
the weight,
consulting is, I don't know. I imagine, I believe it's like probably like a base of $100 to $200 an hour, something like that.
Yep.
And I'm sure it goes higher, and I'm sure there are people that go lower. But let's just say $100 to $200 a month. You get an expert in the field telling you what they know. Not only that, but you get a recording of it, so you can go back over and over again. Where if you're consulting, you might be, you know what? I remember 2 months ago we talked about X, Y, Z, and you're kind of wasting that time to go back to a topic you've already visited. So you get that recorded, permanent. You get to keep forever with that membership, which is a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, $50 a month, dude. I would buy it easily. I would buy it. You know, and I think that's kind of been a lot of the feedback that we've gotten from some of our listeners is, you know, does it cost money? Absolutely. Is it worth it? 100%. Right. So awesome. What are there any specials, any deals going on? You know, what are you guys doing as far as stuff in the future?
Absolutely. So for the month of September, we just barely hired a new sales rep, Megan. She is on our Facebook group. We introduced her, and she's actually going to be on our, I guess this episode will come out later, but we're going to have a live Q&A, and she's going to pop up and introduce herself real quick.
Awesome.
Megan is awesome. She kind of feels like she's going to be kind of almost like a mother to Bug Bux. Like she just like, I don't know. She just is so personable and is just a great person to be around. But anyway, to welcome her to our Facebook group and our group in general, if you go to our website and you'll have like a little promotion code area, and you type in "Welcome Megan," so it's WELCOME, and then Megan's MEAGAN. You can then get 25% off your first month. And this is a great way if you're kind of tempted or you're just thinking, well, I would like to try this, but I'm not totally willing to fully jump in on this. This is a great way to just kind of test the waters, see what you think, and then anyway, get 25% off.
Man, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a steal of a deal anyway at $50. You know, you're getting 25% off for that first month, and as soon as you sign up, I mean, you get access to all the content, right?
100%.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about it, if you're wondering, man, should I test this out? Now's your chance. Go get it. Go take a peek. Go watch some content. Bring a pen. Bring a pen and a pad of paper, because you know, you're going to want to start writing stuff down. But awesome, Hunter. Well, hey, I appreciate you for jumping on the show. You're great. I think Bug Bux Plus is going to be phenomenal as far as a resource for pest control owners and for vendors. And again, kind of connecting those things together. If you guys have any questions for Hunter, or if you're interested in Bug Bux Plus, Hunter, what's the best way for them to reach out to you or learn more about the platform?
Absolutely. So I'm, of course, on the Facebook group, the Bug Bux Facebook group, where you can just reach out to me in there or DM me. Email-wise, it's hunter@BugBuxPlus, so BUGBUXPLUS.com. And you can send me an email. I'll get back to you within a day or so.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, for everybody listening, I just want to thank you for joining us today and learning a little bit more about Bug Bux Plus. And of course, if you haven't already, please join our Facebook group. That's BUGBUX on Facebook. And until next time, keep building those pest control companies.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please show your support by subscribing and leaving us a 5-star rating. Thank you, and we'll catch you on next week's episode.